One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. You mentioned football and having your guys at least play some flag football when they're abroad, and you also mentioned your past. I want to ask about Coastal Carolina's profile now in the sport of football. You spent a year as the AD at Coastal. And, of course, Coastal's in everybody's viewpoint right now because they just won the baseball national championship a couple months ago, which to those of us who are familiar with that landscape was not a surprise. But when you were at Coastal, you guys were really starting to move on the funding behind the building of the football program that's going to play one more year, of course, now at the FCS level before they move to the Sun Belt and play FBS. I think the easy question here would be, is it surprising where they've come from? But the better question may be, what lessons can we learn on the dynamics that are needed to be in place to grow a program in 16 to 17 short years from literally nothing to being a year away from playing in the FBS?
Wow, you talk about a lot of lessons in that one. I went to Coastal Carolina in 1996, exiting from college basketball coaching, and I worked for a gentleman named Buddy Sasser, who was not only the athletic director at Coastal, but formerly had been the commissioner of the Big South Conference. So he knew his way around a lot about that level in that conference. And we talked many times about is football right for Coastal Carolina. Now, another thing you need to know about Buddy's background is he was a former quarterback at the University of North Carolina. So he's got all the intangibles relative to how do we make this decision. And we were pretty much in agreement that it had to be done the right way and at the right time. The president at the time was Ron Engel, and Ron certainly was on board. We were trying to figure out, is it right in the market, or, if you build it, they don't necessarily come. We had to make sure that was the risk, but we felt like we were in a great market. The state of South Carolina is certainly football hungry. The high school football system in the Carolina region is strong. So we thought we had a good market and a good thing to begin for that university. And at the time, not near the enrollment that currently is at Coastal Carolina. So there were a lot of challenges in that. As I was in my year of being the athletic director, as Buddy Sasser retired, that's when things started to heat up to say, okay, let's go forward with what we might do for football. And the president and I worked together, and of course he's the key in this of helping generate the interest in the funding. And we had secured the funding and had the stadium that you now see down there pretty much built and designed. And the first phase was just the stadium. There's an end zone building there now that was thought of but not in the first phase, but everything else is the way that we designed it, and we raised money, and it just gotten a large gift to get that thing off the ground when I departed from Coastal that summer. So I think the things to learn basically are just like anything else. When you put something into an institution that size, you have to have patience and you have to have the right people that are committed to it. And I think there's a number of people over the years, ending with the folks that are there now, that have done a magnificent job, not only with that football program, but with that whole situation, with that university, where they were even when I was there to where they are now. It's impressive what they've done, and there were lots of challenges that they had to overcome. But the people, as we come and go, the philosophy needs to stay consistent, and I think Coastal's done a good job with that. So I'm not surprised to see where they've come from, but to where they are now. And I'm excited for them. They wanted to make a move to the FBS if they could, and I'm excited they got the opportunity. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here.
So this next one is a two-part question, and prior to your last 2 decades on the administrative side of college athletics, you spent a number of years coaching basketball, which you've mentioned previously, including 8 as the head coach at Lock Haven, Division II Lock Haven.
Right.
So the two-part question is, 1, what do you miss about your coaching days? But then 2, how does being a former head coach at a high level, at the Division II level, being a head coach, how does that benefit you in your relationships with head coaches today at Elon?
Oh man, that goes hand in hand. That's a softball pitch to me right there, because what you get in coaching, I think any coach will tell you. I mean, we're in coaching because we love young people, and we love putting together molding clay and putting together people that are diverse from all walks of life, and forming a team and creating success. That's the challenge. And then what we do with them as basically from young adults to adults going out into the world and making a difference. That's really what coaching is. We have fun with the game, whatever game it is we're coaching, but we have more fun with the folks that we're coaching. So as an athletic administrator, to me, that just goes right hand in hand. There's a little story behind, I exited coaching at my own choice. Thank goodness. We don't all get to do that, but I did that because my oldest child was born during a game I was coaching. And it had an impact on me. The success story is that I made it home, got my wife to the hospital, and my son was born within 40 minutes. And but that night I knew that I didn't want to miss any more time of being a father. And it was important to me to make that change. So I set out with just kind of talking to people, but and then one day I got a call from Buddy Sasser, who I've already mentioned, who was looking for somebody I basically was the entire external team of fundraising at Coastal Carolina when I went there. And I just took that on. What's important about that is coaching prepared me totally for what I had to do as an administrator, because particularly at Lock Haven, I was involved in fundraising and marketing and doing everything to move that basketball program along. That's just the way the setup was. Lock Haven wasn't staffed like a Division I institution with all kinds of support staff, and that's not a negative. That's just the way things were, and we all pitched in and did things to support our program. But through that experience, I learned how to fundraise. I learned how to do marketing. I learned how to do everything to promote my program, and was involved in the community. I have applied those skills. I apply those skills every day to what I'm doing as an athletic administrator now. And it doesn't matter what level you're at. Wherever you are, you're doing those things. You're using the same toolbox. And it's been invaluable for me. The things that I miss out of coaching, I don't miss out of coaching, because what's important to me are our student athletes. And I love being able to go show up at practice and do the things that I want to do to get to know as many of our student athletes as I can. I use a family model, and I've applied that since I've become an athletic director. I've always used it. It's been very good to me. And basically, it's coaching and family combined, where my administrators are kind of my staff, if you will, out of coaching. My head coaches, I try to treat like my athletes. If you're a coach, you know what that means. But the student athletes, this is where we switch over to the family element. My student athletes are like grandkids. So anybody that's got grandkids can relate to that. I can show up at practice. I can have fun with them. I can get to know them. But I can go home at night and worry about what I need to worry about to run the department, while the coach worries about them from a parent standpoint. And that model has worked beautifully for me. That's what I relate to. And I take a lot of pride in trying to learn all of our student athletes' names. I don't always get to all of them. There's 400, and they rotate on you. But I do the best I can to get to know them, and I feel a lot of pride in the fact that as most of us ADs, I believe, I'm at as many games as I can to support these student athletes and watch them get better and watch our coaches be successful with them. And so you're in that human element. And to me, that's what I took out of coaching, and I'm applying that as an athletic administrator. So from that standpoint, there's not a whole lot to miss, because I still feel like I'm doing an awful lot of coaching.
It sounds like a lot of your interactions with student athletes are pretty organic, but is there any framework you use, whether it's preseason, postseason, during breaks, whenever it may be, to engage at the team level with each of your programs throughout a year?
Nothing in a formal setting. I will drop by and talk to teams at different times. Sometimes coaches choose to engage me in that. I will meet with SAC once or twice a year, our student athlete advisory committee. I'll go and meet with them and not only ask them questions, but also let them engage with me. But an awful lot of what I do, Matt, is managing by walking around. It's an old adage from way back, but it works still today. And I like showing up at practice. And there's nothing like showing up at a practice and having one of the kids come over and talk to you, because they know you. And that to me what it's all about. You know, I like doing that. So if I did it in formal settings, I probably wouldn't get the enjoyment out of it that I get from doing it informally, because I can show up and catch them in a moment and carry on with them and see what they're doing in practice. If it's a formal setting, they're on their guard and it feels like, okay, what do we need to talk about? And, you know, I guess there's a good balance there, but I like the informal a lot more because I like getting to know them as people. That's the most important to me. And that's what will keep them coming back as alum. So that's what's important for Elon as well.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.